I can't put that into words. If you can imagine your wildest fantasy dream coming true, that was probably it. I can't imagine winning like the lottery and becoming a multimillionaire instantaneously would be as exciting as what happened yesterday. It was just mind-boggling, mind-blowing that my little brother was just elected Pope of the Catholic Church, and it's like, oh my God, it still hasn't sunk in all the way. We're still on cloud nine, you know, pins and needles, excitement. Last night there was like, it was so hard to go to sleep, just all the thoughts and the excitement that had built up during the day running through the head, and it's like, you really need to go to, but you can't. And it's just, I don't know. I'm sure at some point it'll finally sink in. We'll be able to relax, talk about it, go, wow, and settle down to a more normal. You know, if you took my blood pressure right now, it's probably spiking pretty high, and they go, oh my God, you're gonna die. Because I mean, it was that kind of a moment. You know, I don't want to say like a punch in the face, but it a sobering, instant awake. Oh, wow! My brother is the Pope. Oh my God! How do you how do you react to that? I mean, just looking at the media that's been here trying to get interviews and talk to us, who we're just his brothers, you know. Go talk to him. But yeah, no, it's just been incredible. I, I, I got to get my feet back on the ground. It's
So you see the white smoke. What is that moment when you see him coming out on the balcony? Because that's the moment that everybody is looking and waiting and watching
is
for.
waiting for. Yes, there was the bigger moment was when the first cardinal came out to say, tell the masses in the world that they've elected a new pope. So when he came out and started his thing, I paid close attention because I know he was going to say the name, and he did the, you know, I can't remember the Latin or he used or the Italian, but he started to say the name, and he got no more than the first three letters out, Rob, and that was it. My mind, I said, I mean, thank God I was sitting down in the bed, and I might have fallen over because I knew right then it's Robert Francis, and he goes Roberto Francisco, and it just kept building. The more he kept saying, you know, his full name, and no, it can't be. What? Oh my God, he's the Pope. Because I can't say we didn't expect it. It's always possible. When he was made cardinal, it's like, wow, he could be the next Pope. And, you know, yeah, sure, right. And it happened. It's like, oh my God, what a shock to the system that my little brother is the Pope. I still can't express in words all the feelings and emotions about it. It was just mind blowing. You know, you're crying, but it's tears of joy, and it's that didn't last long because then when he came out when on the balcony to show himself and bless the crowd and say what he had to say, which I didn't understand because my Italian is not what it should be, I suppose. Um, but it was quite the morning, quite early afternoon, and still not recovered from it. It's just phenomenal.
Do any of the memories go back to? I mean, you're an older brother. You have another. He has another older brother as well. Do any of the memories go back to when he's a little kid?
Oh yeah, a lot. Um, when he was small, I mean, we knew from when he was old enough to talk, walk, start playing, like with me, because he's a little baby. Um, but when he got a sense of who he was, spent a first year or two in grade school, um, we knew, the family knew, myself, my brother, my parents, he's got a calling. There's something about him. Um, and sure enough, he went in, finished grade school rather than go to high school where myself and John went, our middle brother. He went right into the seminary for the Augustinians, and it's like, okay, yeah. So he was serious because we used to play as kids. You play. He used to play priest. I never played priest. My other, who plays priest? He liked to play priest, and it's like, okay. So we teased him about that, and we teased him about even as little kids. What do you think, you're the Pope or something like that? And how you're just you just want to be the Pope of everybody, don't you? And we just give him all kinds of grief about, why do you want to play priest? Why do you keep blah blah blah, just teasing. And then he went in the seminary. It's like, okay. And from that point on, obviously, that's been his life. He loves it. He's done very well at it, as evidenced by a group of his cohorts picked him to be the Pope. It's like, it's mind-boggling. How does that happen?
You talked about the emotions. Um, is one of the emotions thinking about your future with him? Because we know before, as a cardinal, he could probably come visit on vacations and all. Have you thought about that? Is he allowed to visit? Because I know with Pope Francis, he said he was never able to return home.
To go home, right? And that's like the other side of the coin. Yeah, we're all happy for him and the family, and it's like the greatest thing that could happen in the world, right? One of your immediate family members is head of the Catholic Church, and being Catholic, it's like, wow. But then on the other, and you're happy for him, we're happy, bounce up and down. But then reality sinks in, and you go, will we ever be able to see him again without, making arrangements far in advance, finding that little window of time that he has available to see his brother? Used to be we could go to Rome, and he was in his apartment. You go, hey, we're coming. Is that okay? Yeah, come on. Now it's, can we even pick up the phone and call him? I'm sure the Pope will have his phone. I think Francis had a phone. But is that phone direct dial, or are there 5 people that screen the calls before it gets to his cell? I don't know how that would work, but it'd be like trying to call the president. You can't just pick up the phone and, can I speak to Donald, please? No, it's not going to work. Even at his brother, can I speak to my brother? They're going to go, no, he's busy. You can't just do that. So yeah, there's a lot of doubt about what's it going to be like going forward. Yeah, we're still brothers, but now he's like father or whatever of the whole church worldwide. He's got a lot of people to be, looking out for, taking care of, shepherding. Does he have time for his old mean big brother? Who knows? We hope that, yeah, there'll be that opportunity where we can. We were actually going to fly out to Rome today to go there before he got and I don't installed
Before
as
he was elected.
installed as Pope while he had some maybe free time. But because I'm a little under the weather, I thought, well, I'm not going to go. We're not going to go. Jay, our other brother John, he's leaving for Rome at 5 o'clock in the hopes that they can see him now. And because he's, after, who knows, but we're kind of at the point, we'll wait till the big ceremony and we'll go for that. We went for his elevation to cardinal because I missed his ordination. He was ordained in Rome by the Pope, which, how many priests get ordained in Rome by the, when he was made bishop, I didn't see that. When he was made archbishop, I didn't see that. When he became cardinal, it's like, I'm not missing that. We're getting on a plane and going, and we did back in 23. So now, here's a huge step I may not get to see him, may not get close to him, probably be out in that massive crowd in the Vatican Square, but by golly, we're going to be there and do our best to get to see him. Um, when we went for his elevation to cardinal, we did get to meet with Pope Francis, which was quite the thrill. It's like, how many people get to have a meeting with the Pope, you know? And it's like, he said, we were scheduled to leave Sunday with the rest of the gang, and we thought, well, let's stay a few more days and see some sights. And so we did, and Rob said, well, if you're staying, do you have time to meet the Pope? What do you mean, do we have time to meet the... Of course we have time to meet them. So he arranged for us to meet with Pope Francis, and that was mind-boggling. I thought, wow, that's incredible. You know, it's amazing. I met President Trump during his first term, and I thought, like from me to you, how are you? Good, nice to meet you. And that's crazy, you know, the presidents I've met and shook hands with and talked to. It's incredible, but I don't know what it may be. It's because of the faith background. Meeting the Pope was beyond meeting the president. It was just something about it. And now my brother's the Pope. It's like, now you kind of get a sense of where my mind is at. Blown, holy cow.
What do you think your parents would have to say about this?
They'd be out of this world as well. They were very devout Catholics. And again, they kind of had the sense he had a calling. The Holy Spirit was all over him, saying, and they kind of sensed that he was going to do great things, and they didn't push him. It was all on his own. They supported whatever we wanted to do. And when he said, I want to go to the seminary, we can do that. You know, that's not free. That's Catholic high school, basically. Costs money. Plus it was in Michigan. We lived in Chicago, so you got the transportation, the housing. It's not a, you know, we'll support you in that. And it was fantastic. And again, you know, before he got out of that, I was already gone off in the Navy. So I missed all those early years of his schooling to become a priest, his ordination, his time at Villanova. I was aware that he was doing all that, but I was who knows where at the time.
Really quickly, when was the last that you talked to him? Has he tried to call you leading up into this decision in the election, or were you able to talk to him?
No, well, we talked, the last time I spoke to him, we typically, what's the word, like we all get on the same call, all three brothers. And I think the last time we spoke to him was Tuesday, right before the conclave started. He was telling us, yeah, I got to pack my bags. I had to buy a new watch because you can't take electronic. He had an Apple Watch. Can't bring that in. So he had to get a Timex or something with no electronics. Had to throw his iPad in the safe, you know. And he's saying, yeah, we're going to get locked up, and I won't be able to talk to you after this till God knows when. And I don't think in his mind he expected to be elected. I was probably 60-40. They're going to pick him. Just a feeling, because of what he's been through and what he's done, where he's been compared to the other cardinals that were, you know, the select five. I think he was one of the select five. And if you looked at what they've done as far as work in the church, yeah, I think the number one best odds was the Secretary of State, because he's been there, but has he ever really gone out and been with the people, per se? Has he gone around the world? I don't know. Yeah, he's Secretary of State, but has he run an organization? Has he done anything? And the same with the others. Cardinals in their diocese and wherever they're at have a lot of responsibility, sure, but have they, you know, has the cardinal from the Congo, I think one of them was from, has he been outside the Congo other than to Rome, to go do cardinal things. And the same with all of them. Yeah, they probably traveled a little bit. Well, then you look at Rob. He was head of the entire Augustinian organization as prior general, and that took him everywhere in the world that Augustinians have missions and churches, and it's like, okay, so he's been to all these different countries. He's spoken with some of the world, countries' leadership. So he's had the exposure. He's run a big organization. He was elected twice, served 12 years, and he had to get out, 12-year term limit. So my thinking was they're going to see that, and they're going to know he's done more than just be a cardinal or a bishop. He's got worldly experience, and plus when he was in Peru, all his time with the missions and helping the people there. I think somebody on the news I saw last night, they were talking about Peru and how many changes of government they had, and he was involved with trying to keep that government together. He can talk to the leaders of the countries and help them with their issues, and it's like, so what other cardinal has done that? And then the last position he held in Rome was at the dicastery of bishops, where he's the one that looks at all the priests, bishops, and filters out the good ones that should be promoted to bishop, archbishop, or cardinal, and then tells the Pope, hey, this guy's got it together. He's really good, and no, you don't want this guy. So in that role, I'm sure he met a whole lot of other cardinals and bishops already, and so they got to know him. So maybe that's how his name spread, because they've all worked with him or known his work or been affected by his work. So this guy's okay. What do how do you put that together? I don't know, but in my mind, that was my logic for thinking, yeah, they're gonna pick him. He's got all the qualifications, yeah. And just off the cuff, does he really want that job? Honestly, I would say probably not, because it's not what he really loves to do. I don't think he really loves the job he was doing in Rome, because he's not out with the people, which that's what he's always been about, is being out, at a parish, at a diocese, talking to people, ministering to them. In Rome, okay, you're kind of stuck and you're not with anybody, you're just doing your 9-to-5 desk job. Well, who knows how long, many hours. He was up late when we'd talk. But yeah, so that feeling you get, yeah, they're going to pick him. And when they did, even though you're half expecting it, it still breaks your mind, blows you up. I can't imagine.
You are amazing. Thank you for taking this time. Just a couple of fun questions. What's his favorite baseball team?
Well, today I would probably still say the White Sox, Chicago White Sox. He was always a White Sox fan when he was in Chicago. And I don't think that's changed. I'm sure he's still a White Sox fan. I was a Cubs fan. We had a broken family like that. My mother our mom was a Cubs fan. Our father was a St. Louis Cardinals fan. I was a Cub fan. Rob was a Sox fan. So we always had interesting discussions about baseball teams. And yeah, during those years, you're probably too young, but back in those days, and it looks like they've reverted, the Cubs were always the laughing stock of the league. They haven't won since 1935 or something like that. Kind of like Boston hadn't won for a real long time. So And the Sox had been to a couple World Series in those, 50s, 60s, and it's like the Cubs, no. So we got picked on for being stupid Cubs fans. You support a loser. Yeah. But it is what it is. We were on the South Side, and the White Sox were a South Side team. So in order to go to a Cub game, that was a haul to the other side of the city. So as much as I may have loved the Cubs or liked watching the Cubs, they were at that time, any game that they played, home or away, was always on TV. So we just watch it on TV as often as possible.
And then in Chicago, you have some pizza choices.
Mm-hmm.
Where would Pope Leo go if he came back today?
Well, that depends where he is. We obviously, there was a local place that I can't remember the name of.
Lou Mel, I'm going to say the name's wrong.
Lou Malnati's.
Or Gio.
Giordano's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go to those places. There really is, I can't say no bad pizza in Chicago. I mean, they're famous for the thick crust. But yeah, Damiano's, I think, it's a family owned at the church, at the parish we were in. They owned the place, and they made really good pizza. So we got pizza from them a lot. If we go out somewhere, like to go out to eat, or when he'd come into town from Peru or Rome, a lot of times we'd go out to, like Giordano's and eat in there. Lou Malnati's are not quite as spread around in as many outlets as Giordano's. So that was hard to find one of those. You had to drive quite a ways. So most of the time it would be like Giordano's if we'd be going out for pizza. Otherwise, pick a restaurant. We were not discriminatory. It'd be, if it wasn't pizza, it could be Cracker Barrel. It could be Denny's. Could be. There's an Italian place downtown Chicago, a ritzy, hoity-toity place. We'd go there, and of course, if he was in his garb, the Italians bring him in and pay for the meal. It's like, wow, cool. But yeah, so there's no favorites per se, food-wise.
Really quick, just for background, and then we'll be done. You are a veteran. You served in the Navy. How many years again?
Like 12 and a half years, I guess, 13 years.
In the Navy, and then your other brother, are you the eldest?
I'm the oldest,
You're
yes.
the oldest, okay. Your other brother, he was also, he had a big role too, right? I mean, all three brothers seem to have had this pretty awesome role in life. He was a superintendent of a Catholic school?
He was principal
of
various Catholic schools in Chicago diocese.
It's just fair to give everybody credit for everything they've done in life.
I mean, he started out as a teacher.
Yeah.
That was his calling. He wanted to teach. And he started teaching in the Catholic schools, and just over the years, teacher, and then principal, and then higher level principal, go to bigger schools. And so that's how he spent his career.
I'll get that in the story, though, for both of you.
Okay.
And then has Pope Leo ever been able to visit you here in Port Charlotte?
He came, I think it was last year. Because I remember giving him directions to get to the house here. He was in Naples. He came. There was a big Augustinian function in Naples. I think he was already a cardinal. And he came and said, hey, I'm going to come to Florida to go to this event in Naples. It was a fundraiser for the Augustinians. So he invited us. We got doozied up and went down there to meet him. And then while we were down there, he said, well, I'm going to have some time. Can I come up see you? Yeah, sure. How do you give me directions. So yeah, he's been up here to the house briefly. He spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours here, but at least he came. My mother's side, that's Spanish.
Oh, wow.
Martinez. And father's side, Prevost, French.
Okay.
So,
There we go.
yeah, both sides are all Catholic. We had my mom's sister was a nun. I mean, the whole family is just
Religion.
Catholic, very religious. Yeah.
One last one, and then I'll leave you alone. What do you think? I mean, just how big of a deal is this? He's our first American pope, and he just seems like such a great choice for this role.
It's huge. It's just incredible. And that was one of the things I thought. Well, he won't get picked because he's American, but then you think he's probably spent more time out of the U.S. than he has in the U.S. Maybe that won't be a factor. And then his age, yeah, he's pretty young. So he had a couple strikes again, but I thought, yeah, no, he's got the experience. They want somebody that can run the church and bring it back and grow it, and he's the man. So you had those thoughts, yeah. So the fact that it's an American pope, it's the first one in history, maybe the last one, who knows? I mean, because it's been, not that America's been around for thousands of years, but when you think about all the past popes and the story, oh, they'll never elect an American. Well, look what happened. They did, you know. Maybe there is, you know, higher power to that said, no, I want this guy, and something came over him and said, yeah, we're going to vote for him.